Hey guys, we got a new episode of Bull for you. It is our first episode of 2017. Stick with us right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome to our Bull After Show. It is our first episode of 2017, and we got a little Van Halen going right now.
Yeah,
We got a new face. I know. Yeah, what's the name of the song again?
It's called Hot for Teacher by Van Halen, guys.
Ooh, lovely Chae brought that to you. We were gonna do something else.
Yeah, we're always, as you know, we're always bad at the music choices. So happy to have you on the panel.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited because I love this show.
Yeah.
We are very excited to have you. Tell us where everyone can find you on social media.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Real Chae Jones.
There we go, the real Chae Jones, not the fake one.
Just
the
real.
real
We're
one
just
is right
real.
here with us.
Always keep it real.
And hey guys, Nadine Della-Pelle. You guys can find me everywhere at Nadine DP and the number 3.
And I am Kevin Ellis. You can find me on Instagram at KevinEllis25 or on Twitter at the Kevin Ellis. Yeah. It's great to be back, guys.
Oh, I love it. I've missed it.
It's been a month.
It's been a month. We're sorry. You know, we took a little long holiday.
We did.
Kind of needed it, you know, just a lot of bull got our minds all crazy and stuff. We had to just take a break. Yeah, we're back at it, so I'm happy.
I know, same happened with the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, we knew that was gonna happen.
I was waiting. Okay.
We got a Packers boy over here and my Cowboys. It's okay, you know. It's next year, Cowboys Nation forever. I love you, Dak, Zeke.
I'm neither, just so we're clear.
The thing is that you guys are going to have a great future, and that's all I have to say.
Great.
We've only got a couple more years left in us, maybe 7, 8. So
Wow.
you know, maybe Dak will get out of his diapers by then. Or
Yeah,
like
maybe
that.
one more week for you guys, and you guys will just be out, which is probably what's gonna happen. Shouldn't even have made it. But all right,
It's
That would make
probable.
it, seriously, that would make it 2 years in a
Throwing
row
some
then.
shade right
yeah,
off the
in the
bat here.
bullpen, it's getting a little crazy.
It's all love. It's all love.
It's all love.
But no,
Yeah.
it's been weird being out for almost a month, but a great episode to get us back into the swing, a little bit off kilter. It's just one of those episodes that kind of makes you think about all of the moral issues that this show presents.
Yeah.
So Teacher's Pet is the name of this episode, and right out of the gate, we are at a high school football stadium, and we see on the scoreboard a video, a risque video of one of the students actually hooking up with his teacher. What did you guys think of that?
Personally, I want to know who was able to put it up on the scoreboard. And,
Yeah.
like, what purpose did that serve?
Yeah, I agree with that. I was thinking of that too. I thought that they were going to touch base with that somehow somebody who put that up, maybe on the team or something, was connected to whatever was happening. But you're right, we never kind of got an answer to that, which was, I don't know, a little crazy. No one really cared, I guess. They just cared about the gossip.
Exactly. That's literally what my first thought was when I saw the video posted. I'm thinking, okay, who is the culprit of posting this video, and what is going to be the ramification?
Yeah.
And it turns out none of that.
Because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Apparently, in the long run.
Bigger things were happening in that car.
I'm gonna do this.
Look at you. You're coming back.
Coming back, huh?
Yeah, I'm ready. Big things are happening this year, huh, Kevin?
But it is a 24-year-old teacher and a 17-year-old kid. So you're thinking, okay. But this being, it's New York.
Yeah.
So the age of consent is 17. So the DA actually dropped the charges. But the parents of the boy, who is our he's not the defendant in this. Oh yeah, actually.
I thought he was
No, he's
no,
not.
no. He's not the
He's a
defendant.
plaintiff,
It's
right?
his
He's the
parents.
plaintiff.
His
His
parents are
parents.
suing her, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what the
And
lawsuit
he kind of
is.
comes along for the ride.
For like irreconcilable and emotional distress is what I guess they are actually suing her for.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a crazy situation because she's married and she's a teacher. She almost has no moral compass in some respect. I mean, what were you thinking of this case to begin with? Did you think that this was this could have been love?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's interesting because one of the what is it? The guys who get interviewed, they're like, if this was a male teacher and a female student, it could have been a totally different ball game. So the fact that she is a female teacher and he is a male student, that also shifts things in a different direction too.
Yeah, it's the gender type of stereotypes that go along with it.
And we had one of those episodes actually it was a couple of episodes ago where it was the plane, where we had a female pilot.
Correct.
And it would have been a totally different scenario. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know, if we were put in this position where we were actually choosing between a male teacher and a female student, I think that this case goes somewhere else immediately.
Totally.
Completely, even if she is in love with him,
right?
In a sense as well. I mean, I first looked at this, 24-year-old and 17-year-old. You put that into perspective, 7 years. If a 22-year-old is dating a 29-year-old, you're not going to really think much of it. I understand that he is 17. Looking at it in the beginning, for me, it's like, you know what? Who's to say who someone should love, shouldn't love? Who's to say how they went about it and stuff, right? It wasn't until the end conversation that Bull had with Susan, Mrs. Bryant, Susan, that I really kind of was like, yeah, well, obviously there's some type of reasoning behind every type of situation.
Sure.
And her reasoning clearly was because of her own insecurities and for the long run not going to work. But that is something for them to kind of figure it out. And I don't think the law or the court should have anything to do with it if he's consenting. I don't think the parents should, just because they don't have control over their son, I don't think they should have taken it to court. You know what I mean? She didn't rape him. He wanted to do this. Like, just every fight you're going to have with your parents, the parents are going to bring their child to court, kind of, in a sense.
Yeah.
But I think it's also in the way the dad was saying, like, as we get in later to the episode, is that as a parent, you kind of know what the outcome is going to be, so you want to protect your child that way. You want to be able to try to protect them from the hurt and the pain they're going to go through before it actually happens. Yeah.
And I guess where I will defend what you are saying is that you don't know what the outcome is going to be. This could very well be true love. You don't know. You have to almost give that person that chance. At least in our system, at least in New York, 17, that individual actually has that decision to say, you know what, they are old enough to make that choice on their own, so the parents should respect this.
Yeah.
But
So, but yeah.
No, and I get too from the parents. I mean, I'm just stating what I agree more with, kind of, in a sense. I agree more on their side. But I get where the parents are coming from as well, that this is kind of their last resort, in a sense, to get their son back and make sure that he kind of goes to college and leads his life. And I get that, but I don't think that they should have even been allowed to take this to court, to be honest.
I think it was almost like a joke type lawsuit, like they were just hoping that it wouldn't even have to go to court because she would just stop seeing their son. And I get the whole consent thing because, as like, when you're a kid, like when you're a teenager, you're 16, you're 17, you think you know everything. And especially if the consenting age is 16 or 17, the eyes of the law sees me as an adult, so I'm allowed to make an adult decision.
Were they even looking for punitive damages at all? What were they actually seeking?
What was the parents
Yeah, what
seeking?
were the parents actually seeking?
I think the parents were, seeking the emotional and distress and stuff that was caused upon him. And they are technically still the guardians of him because he's a minor.
Right. No, I'm just wondering, like, what was their end game? Because was there actually
I think it was to sue. So I think it wasn't to put her into jail or anything. I don't think
but actually,
go to jail. I think there was a type of money. I know we have to look back at the beginning of it. They said it really quickly.
Right.
But you're in court. You're suing for something. If it's not criminal, it's for a monetary purpose.
Yeah, monetary purpose. And that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
because legally they can't. And I mean, that's why they thought when the whole, statutory rape thing kind of came up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's easy. Okay, done. This is how she's going to go to jail. And as soon as that's off the table, it's... okay, their relationship is legal.
Right.
As soon as that was just done real quick.
Yeah.
Right out of the way.
And he's like, I do not like that surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, it was just a very bizarre situation with Susan because right when we had Chunk, Bull, Jordan, and Susan meet together, you have Susan who is almost speaking for Jordan in many ways.
And he's allowing it. That's what I found interesting. Like, this is a teenager who is, like, supposed to be the quarterback, the big man on campus. Yet he's allowing somebody else to speak for him that is not his parent.
But he still views her almost as that authoritarian figure. She is still older than him. She was his former teacher and, I guess, tutor?
Mm-hmm. I mean, right there, teacher. That's the authoritative figure.
Right. And that's still the crux of the episode. Like, she is his teacher, and he still was a student.
Yeah.
And if you are the parent and you're seeing the fact that Susan is contemplating homeschooling him. He's dropping out of college. I guess did he get a full ride over at Hudson Valley or something like that? Yeah. So it was just what a bizarre situation.
And I think for her it was she seriously she wanted him to go to college. She still she wanted those things for him, even though she didn't understand the full consequences of him saying, "Oh, I'm not going to college. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to be a full-time dad." Take on that responsibility. Like, she didn't seriously think fully into the future of what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
And we had an interesting development when we had Miss Anderson as the attorney, and as you pointed out, Nadine,
Anderson, yeah.
this is just almost part of the show in that Bull always has something against the opposing attorney.
Yeah, and the opposing attorney is normally always a female too, in some sense.
Yeah.
It's like Bull has this underlying issue with the other gender that he is just constantly having to overcome, whether it be a love, whether it just be like, we saw Wendy's personality, and she's just the exact kind of opposite of these other women in a sense we've seen. It's not that she doesn't have like this flirty type to her. She's just bam, A-type personality. The girl's there right in your face. And you were saying you wanted to punch her at some point.
No, she has a punchable face. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you seriously watch, I just want to kind of punch you.
She was just aggressive, yeah.
And like I don't know, maybe just as a female, like if somebody comes at you that aggressively, like, I don't. You either want to like kind of submit in a way because you couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
All this force is coming at you at once, or you just kind of want to push back against it.
Yeah. What I found was interesting was that we didn't really understand what his issue with Wendy was. I mean, we got it, that her personality, but they never really dove into what their relationship was, which I found to be quite interesting because normally we kind of get a sense later on.
Yeah.
The team kind of figures it out and understands why. Well, I don't know if her role really come back. It wasn't really, nothing really big happened with it, but I'm just curious to kind of, find out what that was about, because I like knowing Bull's little relationships.
But to bounce back off that, like what you said about his rivals with the women, with Benny's ex being the attorney, I think there was a better motive in that aspect. It wasn't like him actually trying to oppose her, trying to like bring something to a head to bring Benny and his ex back together in a way. Yeah. Like, he's not trying to really, he's trying to make an outcome that he finds favorable in the best way he can possibly make it happen.
And she was one of those interesting, I don't want to say villains, but in some respects she was.
Basically.
Basically. And she, but typically you would see one of those individuals, if we did see them again, I feel like there would have been more of a role that they played, as in like maybe she would actually win the case or present some sort of problem that would lead them to do so, and I like bring her up in the future, and I just don't know if that happened.
Yeah, I don't think so. And we're still waiting for that, though. We're still waiting for an episode where Bull doesn't win. No. We've had episodes where he ties, and we talked about this before, and we got some inside scoop even on it. But so hopefully, I don't know, sometime soon we'll really be able to see that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now, what did you guys think of the mock jury not being able to relate to the parents, William and Donna? I thought the mock, or at least the mock jury, presented the idea that Donna and William in the courtroom would not be the case would not be easy if they had jurors who were parents, because every parent believes that they can do better than somebody else.
And I really believe that's kind of true. I believe, in a sense, as a parent, you always, like, if you have somebody that did, like, you had a friend's daughter or go like a wayward type of way, in your mind, like, even if you never say it, even if you don't really think it's like a subconscious type thing, like, I would have done it better. I would have like had her say, locked her up if I had to, but she still would have been here type thing. Like, it's like an unsubconscious type of thing you feel. And that's like everybody, no matter what the situation is, sometimes you just unconsciously believe, I'm gonna do better, because I think I'm a better parent than you.
Well, yeah, I think it's just internally, you as a human, you just kind of believe that, but that you could have, done a better job, but also if it went the other way, you wouldn't have even thought about it. You wouldn't say anything, But I did find that very interesting. I love that they brought up the grandparents, but the grandparents are the ones who, because they realize that, they may have not been right with their own children, but maybe with the grandchildren, they can have a second round. They can really try again to, try and raise them right, in a sense. But we didn't really see on the jury many grandparents. I think there was only one.
No. And I loved her because she was
one
a
or
grandma.
two. Yeah, and she was great. But it was just interesting that they made those type of remarks and stuff, and then didn't really focus on that aspect of grandparents and stuff. We had that one juror.
Edward,
not Ed, not Eddie, but Edward, who was a very interesting character. We hear these stories all the time of these go-hung Christian folks are just
Singing
not
in the
even
choir.
not even Christian, just religious folk in a sense. And then everyone has their little secrets that they're kind of hiding late at night. So it was I thought it was funny that Bull exactly knew where he was too.
I know.
No, see, I was thinking strip club, like I think I was really thinking it was a strip club. That's where my mind went. So when he was like that, I was like,
that's why he's Dr. Bull.
One step further than the strip club.
Yeah.
a whole different step further.
And Danny was like, I don't even want to know how you know that, Bull.
Right.
And then it's once again just Bull just is Bull. And you want to know more about his life, and then you're just like, let's just halt right before we really dive into Bull's real mind and his real subconscious.
I would love an episode where we actually really delve into that mind, because that mind is an interesting place to be.
His bullpen, huh, Kev?
Oh, yeah.
His own
It'd be
little
a dangerous,
bullpen.
dangerous place. I don't know if we're ready for that.
No.
I think it would be. I don't know if we'd be as shocked as we might predict our own little things that are in there.
Yeah.
We may have better. Yeah, I don't know. So
We could write a pretty good one for that one.
yeah.
So Jeffrey was introduced. Jeffrey is Susan's husband, and I thought initially that he was going to play even a greater role, because he seemed almost a little cunning at first. I mean, he seemed like he was going to plot a way into becoming more of a problem in this case. It turns out his biggest problem came 3 months earlier, and that posed quite a dilemma, at least morally, for Susan and Jeffrey. And they have that dilemma where do they do the Romeo and Juliet and go on the run?
Yeah, and I thought it was just obviously brilliant once again of Bull to be able to do this, but it also just makes me question once again. It's all the hacking and all that stuff that's done. It's like back in the day. I know that this isn't completely based off of the true story of but back in the day, you wouldn't have been able to do all this hacking, all this online stuff like we've talked about. So was he able to track in real life and do all this, or wasn't he?
Yeah, no, it does pose some interesting questions.
It
because,
does, but
yeah, I mean, some of the social media didn't actually play a bigger role than I thought it would, because you thought that once we saw all of the almost risque pictures of, well, I guess they did show them in court.
Yeah.
Of Susan. They did show those.
They
Of the
showed them.
Of the Snapchats, it wasn't too...
ones.
Which is
that's
interesting.
crazy,
How
but-
were they able to get that into the courtroom?
Nothing is ever fully deleted.
No, but I'm
Oh,
saying
you
how
mean
are they
like how
able
they
to
get
get
the
that as
Subpoena
evidence?
them?
Yeah, subpoena those if it was from her phone, unless it was from his phone
Unless
and he
it saved
willingly.
them.
And like the parents
But he
could have.
didn't.
Well, if he has his parents plan and the parents are paying for it, technically they just need the parents' permission.
to do that. Yeah, possibly. But I think you're right. Yeah, social media didn't really play that much because it didn't really have anything to do with them talking online or anything like that. It was just their personal type of chatting that they were doing together and whatnot. But yeah, it's always interesting. We didn't really get to see my girl Cable that much. We didn't get to
Not see Cable,
only a little bit.
but we did see a little bit more Danny.
Yeah,
and we
I
haven't
No,
seen
we got
Danny
to
much.
learn more about what Danny is interested in outside of her job.
A little bit of a personal life coming into the fray. What did you think about her and this British
Gabe.
spy?
I accept.
Gabe.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. I accept.
I think it's great, and I think that I like this episode because we were able to dig more into our core team and their personalities. Like we've been wanting to see it a little bit more, and whenever we do, I like that. And this trial completely, I think for a lot of the characters, it really, they were listening and they were understanding, and especially her with her relationship, she was relating it to herself. And I think a lot of people were relating it to their own personal relationships and what's happening with them and trying to understand themselves. So it was a little therapy session for everyone as well.
Agreed. Even for Chunk.
Yeah.
Which was great.
And for Chunk, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bull even brought up his past at the end of the episode, and just, why did you actually quit football? And as it turns out, it was just because of the love of the game was no longer there, and it had nothing to do with him actually being gay and having to come out as a gay football player. Like that had nothing to do with it. He just didn't care for it anymore, which was almost a nice revelation. It's like he still had, I would say, just the confidence in himself to not have to use that as like a reason for
Yeah.
not wanting to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get his parents though being so like hurt by that. It's I think it's if they're blindsided, and I know he didn't have the courage and the guts. And I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. None of us were kind of.
Right.
None of us are in his head at that time. But it's also like I see why your parents would be so distraught and so upset. They spent their lives doing this, and how are they supposed to know how you're feeling if you're not going to voice it?
Right.
You
And
know?
I think it's hard when you're a teenager and you're a kid and like you've worked so hard with your parents to create this dream, but when the dream's not, and it's like not more for you and it can't be more, and then you want to give it up and you have to actually tell them that feeling you have to feel. It has to be like a gut punch because you're like, even though you'll feel better once you tell them, even though it might be halfway close to the moment where you probably should have did it like a couple months or a week before, it's kind of devastating.
Yeah,
like
it's
just for everybody
devastating.
involved.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have to be your true self, and you have to say it.
Yeah.
And speaking
Always.
of gut punches, we had
Hey.
Wendy. We had Wendy who threw some major shade towards his father, he being Jordan, when he was on the stand, just bringing up the fact that he was traveling out of town for almost 4 months out of the year and questioned his own parenting and being a good example for his kid.
I think that was so out of line though.
Girl was fighting dirty.
Right?
Did you
Seriously.
say that? Yeah.
Some major problems I had with that. And I felt so bad for him, and he did not. I don't know if it was an acting choice or at least if it was the writing, but he did not seem like he was too furious about that like claim. And I was like, dude, I would be defending myself in that
Because
moment.
I'm pretty sure like he's had to defend himself for that. Like most throughout Jordan's life too at the same time, because when you're not around for 4 months at a time, like people are gonna ask questions about you know, how's Jordan holding up since you've been away for 4 months out of his life for each year that he's been born.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that Bull does such good prep with these guys. He doesn't put anyone on the stand without. We already saw him trying to talk with the mother, and he's like, "This is why we practice." So I think that he probably, and he brings out during he's tougher than Wendy was even on them.
Oh, yeah.
when he's
Oh,
doing his
yeah.
mock trials and stuff. So I think he wasn't blindsided by that and knew how to answer, even though it's still gonna hurt hearing that said in front of everyone. You're hoping it's not gonna come out.
But when you have somebody like Wendy,
Yeah, exactly.
course.
But going back to the mock trial, we really haven't seen the past few episodes, really the mock juror, and really seeing, like, we see the results on the board and stuff, but we don't see who they actually chose as their mock juror as much as we used to in the
Yeah.
beginning. And I get that maybe that shouldn't gets old and stuff, but we're
they're
not
trying
really...
to spice it up.
Yeah, but we're not really seeing who they picked with their, the 98% accuracy or whatever.
I
Yeah.
think they kind of made it up for the next week's episode a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'll chalk it up to maybe they're saving a little bit of money on extra talent.
There you go. There
That's
you go.
where that's where I might go with that.
You know, if you always ever need extra talent, guys.
You know, we're here. Just
Hey.
ship me to New York, please. I
There
want
we
to see
go.
Hamilton.
We had the offer.
We did have the offer. I know. We just weren't there in time. Stuck out here with the palm trees. But hey, I'm not complaining.
Not complaining.
I'm
Though it
not
did rain a
complaining.
lot in December and January.
Yeah, which is good. We needed that.
We have our problems in LA, and rain is one of them.
Because nobody knows how to drive in it.
God. But what did you guys think about the little fact that was thrown out there that 95% of relationships born out of infidelity fail?
That makes
That
sense.
I was a little surprised. I thought it was such a high number. I guess 95%, leaving
Yeah.
only 5% of those relationships to succeed.
Because I think when you do have infidelity, when that's the case, you have to have a seriously very strong resolve. Because without it, either you both have to have the strong resolve, and if one doesn't, one doesn't, it won't work. It's gonna fail.
Yeah, I just think with these statistics, I think it's just how the heck do you know 95%? You know,
Yeah.
where are you
You're getting
getting
your
these numbers from? Like, where is all this? You know, and
I want research.
No, but it's just like, but yeah, I do agree with you though. I think that it was a high number, 95%. But I think it's because most infidelity, or I would assume cases, all are emotional based, and not emotional based in a deep sense of the word emotional. In the sense of just something that was just crazy and just a spark and just here, just for the moment kind of in a sense. And then when it comes back to reality, like we saw at the end with Bull and Susan's conversation, that kind of hits.
And that was an amazing. I want to get to that. 'cause
Yeah.
that
We'll get,
really
I
was
have
the
so much
best
to talk about
monologue.
on that,
Oh my
but
gosh,
yeah.
We'll go back to Danny because Danny posed as a Department of Education employee and got into Susan's apartment, which was crazy. I mean, it shows that she actually was a former FBI agent, which was fantastic. But just to actually be able to go on in there, not knowing that she was going to end up going back to her bedroom and she was going to be able to pull out that ultrasound, but she found so much more information than she probably would have thought.
When are they gonna get caught? When is there? Are they ever? I hope they don't. But I mean, like, they pull so many stunts here on this show. I mean, it's good to get all their stuff, but isn't anyone ever going to look into Bull and his team at all? Is the FBI at all going to be like, how the heck is this man winning every case?
Yeah.
He must be hacking someone. All this illegal stuff is happening. No one recognizes that everything he's doing is illegal.
It's more of like an IA type situation where IA needs to come in and view a situation a little bit.
Seriously.
No, they're freelance, so I mean, it would literally have to be some kind of government watchdog or at least some sort of police entity.
But I think as long as as long as it doesn't cost the government money in any way, I feel like they're good in
they
don't care.
Yeah, but it's not. I think that it would be like, because Bull clearly has a lot of people that just are not into Bull. People that are just don't really
An unbelievable amount.
Not a fan of him for whatever reason,
But they
which we all
respect
know.
him.
So I'm just curious as for why one of them haven't been like, you guys need to look into him, or people file complaints or that type of stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's a storyline that we're gonna get into. Maybe I'm just jumping ahead of the curve. I don't know.
I think one of the things that you and I have always talked about is the fact that there is not enough conflict with the team on this show, and I really am seeking that. At least, I know. I think we even mentioned it to Mark at one point that we were just that's one of the things that we would like to see.
Yeah.
But it is one of those elements that I think does. It almost seems too happy-go-lucky almost all the time. Everything's just going too well for these guys. I know they're good. They're the best in the business. But I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I think it's like going to be a lead up until when they get the big fall.
The
Like
big bam.
all this happy go lucky, and then like when they get that one thing that's gonna it's gonna fail, it's gonna just be like an oh my god type situation because you're just like, now how you're gonna deal with it.
Now what are we gonna do?
You got a lot more episodes until the season finale, so
Yeah.
And I mean, I
see.
think what you're saying too about how it's just kind of like, oh, it's easy. Even the fight between Jeffrey and
too
Jordan.
easy.
Jeffrey just went up and it was just real quick and he broke it up. But I just wanted even them to talk even more, just scream more at each other. Not that I promote violence, not that I promote fights and arguments, but just as a realistic thing for Jeffrey to just walk away that quickly. Unless in his head he's thinking this is a kid.
Yeah.
But still.
true.
But for Chunk, what he said to Jordan, what I loved is like, if you're gonna plan on being a man, be the bigger man. I think that's a great advice for anybody who's now 16, 17. If you think you're ready to be a man, be the bigger one, please. You don't have to get in fights.
See, you're being the big person. I want all this conflict and fights.
No,
and
do
you're like,
not get wrong.
guys, don't
No,
do
do not get wrong. I love conflict. Please, Jesus, give me conflict. But I'm also saying that, like, the lessons that you can find
nestled into the show. I like that,
are the best part about the show.
Little takeaways. You're right. No, there is. They do give us these little sentimental moments. From Chunk especially. Chunk just brings the game sometimes.
I just kind of wish he was
He
straight.
does.
Sometimes I'm just like,
Chunk.
you're adorable. He's adorable,
He
and he
is.
dresses very nice. Thank you.
Always sharp.
Always.
Someone's got like some J. Crew or something like that.
Well,
I pay
J. Crew,
attention
but
to
yeah.
What's against J. Crew? You know I
Nothing.
wear mostly J. I wear
Nothing
mostly J.
is
Crew.
No.
You just this is
You're a
payback for
Packers
my
fan,
this is
okay?
payback for the
See,
Packers
guys,
fan.
That's exactly what's happening.
And I'm Patriots.
I knew I'd do
Every
that.
little
I
thing.
sit here
Just
quietly.
gonna
I don't
dig
regret
at
it.
you.
My team's in the NFC Championship
All
game,
right,
so I don't
all
regret it
right.
too much.
That's fine.
Well, you're not
But
right.
an interesting statistic that I wrote down talking back to statistics was they were talking about the jurors, and they're like, well, 4 out of the 6 jurors respect social norms. I was like, that's a really weird, I don't know, it was just like an interesting little thing they just threw out. And I was like,
missed that.
4 out of 6 respect social norms. Okay, so what are the other 2 aren't respecting? What are they doing that isn't, like, okay? That's what I want to know.
I think that's actually an interesting statistic because.
No, 4 out of 6 of the jurors.
Oh,
It
just
must
like
be-
jurors, but not like
Yeah,
people.
yeah, not people.
I want to know.
Yeah,
now I want
yeah.
to know the 6 of people who respect.
Oh,
that.
no,
I want that one.
No, yeah, it's the jurors.
Because if you're a person like I'm assuming for them like the grandma, she respects social norms. And
We know
social norm
Edward
being,
wasn't.
Well, yeah, we know that.
He's one of those.
If you want to know
We
why,
what he's doing.
if you want to know why, watch the episode.
Yeah.
But social norm, like, I think in this day and age, what is normal anymore? What are we trying to make normal anymore?
I think it's normal in the person who's saying something's normal. When someone that says, they're not doing the social norm, it's what they believe in their own mind and their own moral code.
If I went up to both of you ladies and I pulled out your hair bun, you would not be happy, and that would be against social norm. Would that not be true?
First of all, don't touch my hair.
Hey!
I am that person.
There we go.
Yeah.
Don't please, unless I actually you ask me first, please don't touch my hair.
Yeah.
But yes, you get hurt a little bit.
They get hurt. Exactly.
Social norm
Going
has
against the social norm.
Yeah, it has a wide
Big connotation.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that fall under it, but I just found it was funny that they just threw in, well, 4 out of the 6 jurors respect social norms, and I was like, this is all right. What did you guys find?
I feel like I heard it, but I also missed it.
Yeah, it was just they just threw it in, and I was just laughing, and I wrote that down. I just write down the funny stuff.
No, it was a great pickup because I missed it.
So yeah. So
What you two didn't miss, though, is both of these two had predicted that Jeffrey was going to end up being the father.
We
Nailed it.
said this in the middle of watching it.
We did.
We got it, girl.
Yay.
We did
You
it.
did.
Yeah.
I give you credit. No, it was almost. It seemed like it was the only way to keep Jeffrey into the fray.
Yeah.
Is like if he ends up being the father, and it was probably the twist of the episode.
I think for Susan, for who like her personality wise that we learned throughout the episode, I can actually see why she chose Jeffrey. I'm so sorry it's gonna sound masculine to any guy that's watching. He was
Remember
definitely.
who you're in front of?
Yeah, sorry, Kevin. I just felt like he was really the weaker in the sense of he wasn't a dominant type of guy, and that's basically kind of, I would say, why she chose him.
Well, I think both of them were not dominant men, and that was the thing. That's what she was preying on. She was preying on 2 individuals that just were that she could dominate over, that they were beneath her. One being of age and immaturity, the other being an individual who just had no self-confidence.
And definitely grabbing the one before he gets the maturity and the ability to become dominant. Because I feel like Jordan, if he he goes to college and he does that, I feel like it would bring more a dominant.
But I think what this was saying in this show is that at that point in time, that's when she would drop him. If he became too strong, he would overcome her, and that's what would be the end of it. And that's what Bull was trying to defend once Danny and Bull tried to meet up with Jordan and Susan when they made their way on out to New Jersey. So Bull got into this fantastic monologue.
Man.
It was amazing.
He mentioned balcony people, which I thought was so cool in that, because I never thought about, having an audience, somebody to cheer you on in the crowd. But I know, Nadine, you wanted to talk about this, or at least you wanted to talk about at least this monologue.
You know how deep I am with my quotes and my poetry and all the feels. I love it. No, yeah, so basically he described a balcony person, which like you said, I love that. And I'm going to take that with me and just understand that a lot. Great writing, guys. That was really
Thank you.
Good writing. But yeah, so basically a balcony person is someone who sits in the theater of your life, adores you, and cheers you on, etc., and is always there for you. And, I think everyone, when you hear that, you kind of look at your own life, and you're like, do I have those balcony people? Who am I a balcony person for? And you kind of evaluate, and you kind of, wonder if those people that you are a balcony person for, is it for the right reasons and stuff? Or maybe that's what was just happening in my crazy mind as I was watching.
I was thinking the same thing.
So,
it makes you think, if you're that person's balcony, do they appreciate the fact that you cheer them on no matter what's going on?
Yeah, and I think that, throughout his monologue, it was really interesting to dissect, and we see this all the time, that a lot of people's issues that they have in adulthood stems from your childhood.
Yep.
How you grow, and what happened. And with Susan, it was her father getting remarried and having a new family, and she felt that no one was in her corner anymore. And all she wanted was someone just to support her. And so the people are going to, it's so true though, you look up to people. And the people are going to look up to you. That's who she's going to put in. And it was interesting and nice to see her immediately recognize that and really understand what Bull was saying, and then just immediately make that decision, which I thought was a little quick. But
I thought I really like what this show does, and it makes us really come to terms with these broader thoughts that I would never really sit down and think about. Like, I don't think about the fact that, yes, I do have a lot of cheerleaders in my life, and I don't view them as people in the crowd, but I do have those people. And then when I look at some of the individuals who I know have struggled throughout their lives, it stems from that childhood portion of their life where they didn't have those cheerleaders. And so I see exactly what they were getting at in this episode, and you see a person like Susan who is just this tormented individual who you don't necessarily see it externally, you know internally, like that's taking place. And that's why it was such a quick turnaround at the end, in my opinion, is because all she needed to do was just to chat with somebody and realize, you know what, this is wrong. I'm looking for something that I didn't think I was, and that being this person who was trying to fill a void that wasn't necessary.
Yeah, and I think that Bull just has this way when he actually sits and talks to all these characters that we've seen. There's something about the way that he I don't know, he uses his words, just like how it's affecting us. You know, he wasn't even, you know, how we all feel using the writers. Man, really good. But he has a way of being able, that's why I thought at first it was quick, and I was like, no, because it's with Bull. The one thing that shocked me kind of in the diner was Jordan. He wasn't, not that I'm wanting Jordan to be this aggressive man, but he's given up his whole life right now. He's in a war with his parents and with everyone. He didn't even run and chase after her. He just kind of stood there and was like, he tried for a second and then just was defeated immediately, which I just thought would be rare for a teenager that's 17 years old. The love of his life is walking out the door that quickly with no real reason, kind of, for him to understand. I just thought that was just a little bit unrelatable in a sense.
I agree. He was pretty even-keeled throughout the episode, so it was the only thing keeping me in that believability realm.
Yeah.
Though I am totally with you in that I feel like he would have been more amped up, trying to chase after her, not being really, not really wanting to listen to what Bull was having to say at the end. Like, he's distraught. He's seeing his whole life that he thought he was about to build walk out the door.
Yeah, he's in a courtroom fighting for this love right now, and he's just going to stand there and just watch it walk away.
And I'm going to listen to this lecture from this old dude who I barely know.
Right? So, like, I get Susan understanding and coming to terms she's older, but with him, it was just like, come on. Show a little bit more, but...
I think with Susan's revelation for that, for me, was I could relate a little bit to that, because, like, as a kid... Unless you deal with it, as you start growing, it will fester and it will make you keep being insecure, and it will make you find those people who worship you and want to just be like in your life. And then when you realize that, like, you haven't dealt with what you grew up with, everything comes in perspective.
You could end up leaving your husband for a 17-year-old boy.
I think for that one, I'm gonna leave that joke.
Boy, I was looking at Bull kind of. And
I'm gonna leave that joke alone. Actually, I was gonna touch that, but I'm gonna leave it alone. But I do agree with you. I felt like if this is the love of his life, why are you still standing there? Yeah. Like you kind of went, and then Bull stopped you, and then you just like shoulders kind of slumped.
But the thing is, maybe was he not that into it then?
I think at that, when she walked away, I think it was just like he realized what all his parents have been trying to tell him, what everybody's been trying to tell him, and he didn't want to listen.
Yeah, maybe he is a smart boy, because I wouldn't have listened. I'd have been like, earmuffs, walking, leave me alone, people. This is my love.
Seriously.
I'm gonna fight for her.
Exactly. I'm going to fight for this woman who I just devoted all of this time and a lot of my ego to.
Yeah, I dropped out of school.
I don't want to
drop
out of school. No, it's part of you.
But
I turned down college applications.
But I'm happy that he went back with his parents. He's gonna be a good kid and, you know, figure it out. So at least we had a happy ending in a sense. But I don't know, boy, get some guts. I don't know.
Get some cojones.
Yeah, cojones.
A little bit.
Just, a little bit. But I also think I think the cojones, I think for that,
she's on board. She's on board.
She's got it.
I got it. I think for that, like, being 17, it also comes with maturity.
Yeah.
And something you have to gain as you get older.
As we sit here and yell cojones. And we're talking of maturity.
Great, wonderful.
We're so mature people, guys. We're really mature.
So mature. So.
You know. Well, I don't know if we have any predictions, do we?
Yeah. I don't
like for next week's.
It's always tough predictions on this.
It's hard because they're different.
But do we see Gabe again?
Oh, I really hope so. Only because I really just want to hear the British accent.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
He's
see
definitely
Gabe.
eye candy.
I think we're gonna see Gabe. I think we're just gonna keep going down the line of characters and getting more deep into their, or just it's not even deep, but at least just a little splat of something.
Yeah.
But overall, what did you think of the episode?
Overall, the episode, I think it was amazing. The writing was just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really does make you think. Like, if this was an actual case, who would you side with?
Yeah.
Parents or the true love?
The true love.
I feel like I was in a lecture of morality in this episode.
Got real deep.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. What did you think overall?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Like I said in the beginning, I still don't really think that parents should just take their children kind of to court in a sense. It's not they took their child, but when they don't agree with that, I don't think that could have been allowed if it's all legal, if it's all under a legal realm. No. But do I think any of that was right? No, not at all either. So I'm happy that, the ending kind of came out good before people got hurt more. But yeah, it was very deep.
It was.
I'm gonna go read
We'll see
some
if it's a
Walt
little bit
Whitman.
more.
I'm
Well,
gonna go read some Walt Whitman after this.
I need to catch up on some shows.
Cleanse my soul a little.
next week it seems like it's going to be pretty intense from the preview that we had. It's going to be a really high octane episode where it
gonna
almost
be
seems like it's a
Benny.
hostage situation.
Benny versus Bull.
Ooh, hoo, hoo.
Uh-oh.
Now that, I cannot wait to see.
I'm
that.
looking forward to
Alright.
that.
We're
Like-
excited.
Chae,
Yes.
please tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Hey guys, you can find me at Real Chae Jones on Instagram and Twitter.
There you go. And thank you for watching, guys. It was so good to be back. And welcome. We had a
Thank
blast
you.
with you. We'll be here next week. You can find me everywhere at Nadine DP and the number 3.
And I'm Kevin Ellis. You can find me on Twitter at @TheKevinEllis or on Instagram at KevinEllis25. It was nice having a 3-person panel back.
Yay.
It was nice having you, Chae, and
Thank you for having
Nadine.
me.
Lovely to see you
Welcome.
again, as always. We hope to see you guys next week. Thank you to Mr. Charles Ray for being in the chat room. Hope to see you guys next week, both in the chat room and here watching. Take care, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.